All right, let's get this show started on the Fight Talk show. TJ Dillashaw is calling out Ilia Topuria, saying the featherweight champ is running scared from a showdown with Arman Tsarukyan. On the latest episode of the Jackson podcast, Dillashaw broke it down, doubting the UFC would let Topuria jump up to welterweight for a super fight against Islam Makhachev anytime soon. He praised Topuria as the most skilled fighter in the UFC right now, but pointed out Tsarukyan's size, strength, clean boxing, and elite grappling make him a nightmare matchup at lightweight. Too risky when Topuria could test himself higher up. Dillashaw flat out said the only logical fight for Topuria is Tsarukyan. No dodging that bullet. Who's buying this? Tsarukyan just submitted Dan Hooker in Qatar, extending his streak to 10-1 in his last 11, with wins over Charles Oliveira and Beneil Dariush. Guy's a beast, and Topuria talking welterweight dreams feels convenient when he's 8-0 in UFC with knockouts of Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway. Michael Morales is wasting no time, already back in the gym crushing sparring sessions after his massive knockout of Sean Brady at UFC 322. The undefeated Ecuadorian prospect stopped the number 2 welterweight with a brutal flurry in the first round at Madison Square Garden, calling out Dana White for his belt right there in the post-fight interview. That win rocketed Morales to number 4 in the welterweight rankings, his 7th UFC victory with 5 knockouts since debuting in 2022. He's 17-0 overall, stands 6'2" with an 80-inch reach, and trains with heavy hitters like Gilbert Burns. Title contention is no joke for this 26-year-old phenom. Morales shared the sparring clips on social media looking sharp and motivated, signaling he's all in on climbing that ladder fast. Shifting to featherweight drama, Diego Lopes snagging another title shot against champ Alexander Volkanovski has everyone fired up, and even Volk himself says it doesn't add up. Dana White dropped the bombshell that Volkanovski vs. Lopes headlines UFC 325 on January 31st at Kudos Bank Arena in Sydney, Australia. Volk's first home state title defense since reclaiming gold. This comes after Volk beat Lopes via unanimous decision in their vacant title clash at UFC 314 back in April, a razor-close fight where Lopes pushed him hard over 5 rounds. White passed over undefeated contenders like Lerone Murphy, who's 16-0-1 with a recent KO streak, and Movsar Evloev, 19-0 and dominant in decisions, both with stronger claims on paper. In his latest YouTube video, Volkanovski admitted he expected Murphy or Evloev, saying they were the ones he called out. He'll fight anyone, but noted Lopes brings the fireworks fans crave, even if others deserve it more. At least everyone knows they're in for a trick with Lopes. You get chaos, Volk said, hyping the action while questioning the UFC's logic on merit versus marketability. Volk's coach, Joe Lopez, was straight up shocked by the pick during his submission radio chat. They were gearing up for Murphy after his spectacular KO of Dan Ig, or maybe Evloev after his grinding win over Aljamain Sterling. Everything pointed there until Lopes' highlight reel TKO of Gene Silva at Noche UFC in September flipped the script. No disrespect to Diego, he's talented with insane submissions and power, but we just beat him decisively. Movsar and Murphy seem more deserving with their consistency. UFC called the shots, so camp's locked in now, ramping up for Sydney. Meanwhile, fresh footage just dropped of Volkanovski sharpening up with flashy striker Mauricio Rufy in Thailand. Chris Brown's at Bangtown Muay Thai, trading heat as both prep for big tests, with Rufy's wild kicks testing Volk's footwork. Aljamain Sterling isn't holding back his frustration over Lopes jumping the line for that second crack at gold. On his YouTube channel, the former bantamweight champ ripped the UFC's criteria, questioning if it's pure merit or popularity driving decisions now. I'm 36, got in at 24, used to be best fight best, eat what you kill without excuses, Sterling vented at length. Now it's highlight wins against favorable matchups, cash out if you're lucky and marketable. How do you kill if no opportunity? They want a Mexican hero like Lopes for the Sydney crowd, maybe Brazilian appeal too, but where's the standard? He gets the business side, but demands transparency amid the uproar from fans, Murphy's public heartbreak on social media, and Evloev's unsurprised, it is what it is shrug. Sterling's rant echoes the division's growing divide. Lopes? Cool as ice amid the hate storm. After the backlash exploded, fans raging online, Sterling unloading, Murphy gutted, and Evloev shrugging. He posted on X with a smug photo captioned, "My face when I saw everyone crying. Sitting around, he won't give you a title fight. Get to work and stop whining on social media." Lopes rebounded from the Volkanovski loss with that thrilling first-round TKO of Gene Silva at Noche UFC in September, his 6th UFC win in 8 fights, showcasing guillotine chokes and heavy hands at 27-7 overall. The 30-year-old Mexican-Brazilian star thrives on chaos, and he's got Sydney circled for redemption. Critics can cry. He's focused on finishing Volk this time. Now the lightweight bombshell everyone's buzzing about. Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje headlines UFC 324 on January 24th at T-Mobile Arena in Vegas for the interim lightweight title, with champ Ilia Topuria sidelined until mid-2026 after surgery. Dana White booked this violence fest to launch the new Paramount PPV era. Pimblett, 22-3 and 7-0 in UFC after his third-round submission of Michael Chandler at UFC 314 for another performance of the night, finally gets gold within reach after years of build-up. In his official UFC video reaction, the baddie laid out the full roadmap, snagged the interim strap, smashed Topuria for undisputed later in 2026, then punched the head in of Arman Tsarukyan if the little posh boy fights during that window and holds his #1 rank. First time fighting in January, earliest ever, ruins Christmas dinner and my 31st birthday 3 weeks prior, but worth it when I lift that belt high. Paddy the Baddie, world champion at last, he declared with that signature scowl swagger. Gaethje, 25-5 and turning 37, fresh off a gritty decision over Rafael Fiziev at UFC 313, is equally pumped. What a ride! Thankful for this chance to start the new UFC Paramount partnership. Perfect dance partner for another unforgettable night. Ready to prove once more I'm the best and most exciting at 155. I'll be ready to go. The ex-interim champ and BMF king hunts violence and hardware again. Pimblett didn't stop there. He trolled Tsarukyan hard right after the announcement. The #1 lightweight contender got brutally snubbed despite his elite 5-fight UFC streak since 2022, including that Qatar sub of Hooker, posting "Make it make sense" with a facepalm emoji on Instagram amid the shock. Paddy fired back on Twitter. "You like apples?" Straight movie reference, shade, mocking Tsarukyan for allegedly sitting out with injury excuses like a sore back. Tsarukyan, 22-3 in Grappling Machine, brushed it off by posting another massive meal feast on socials, pounds of rice, meat, and veggies to fuel the comeback grind. This interim winner unifies with Topuria mid-2026, but Paddy's already got Tsarukyan dialed in as the trilogy target. Feud ignited, division fracturing.